This is my response to Billy O'Reilly's Talking Points memo of Wednesday. I believe today is the August 20th. And Billy, you were on a rampage tonight. You were what I really like about you. Your anger, your rage, your insistence that what you're presenting to your audience is the facts and only the facts and nothing else. But again, let me just not get so raged about all this. But let's get back to some of the basic facts, the stuff that you didn't even bother to bring up. That number one, Michael Brown was shot in cold blood on a Saturday afternoon. His body laid there for 5 hours. Someone went up and said that they were a nurse. They weren't even allowed to go up and to administer any type of thing to help him out at all. They knew, there were eyewitness accounts right from the beginning that he was unarmed. There were eyewitness accounts just from the pictures that you saw that he was 30 feet away from that squad car. We also know that the police didn't even release the name of the shooting officer for another 5 or 6 days. The ACLU had to go to court to try and get to him to release his name. They still have not released any of the police reports that are normally associated with something like that normally are taken care of right away. Was there violence in the streets? Yes, there is. Is it very regrettable? Yes, I agree that it's very regrettable. Did Al Sharpton and the lady at MSNBC, was she an agitator in getting that started? No, not a bit. They were calling for peace and calm. Okay? As a white person, I understand that I have absolutely no idea what it must be like for a black person, especially a young black man, walking on the streets, knowing what they know about how they're being treated by police. It's easy for you to sit there in your little underground bunker in New York City. And that's the one thing that I really, that I think that you believe, is that everything is fair all the way around. The police are police. They're fair police. No, they're not fair. How many white people, how many white police officers are there? How many black police officers are there in Ferguson? 53 to 3, I don't know. Tremendous amount. 78% black population, whatever. Again, a majority black population. Black people know that, they can't get stopped by the police because they'll get arrested for something. Even when they're doing nothing. They know that. And that's what they're as much as the killing is that how unfair it is. And also, in Ferguson, several years before, or in St. Louis County, the district attorney did not bring a case to court where 2 black men were shot in a car dead. They were unarmed. They were shot 21 times, I believe. And the district attorney, who's white, did not bring it to court because they said that they were justified in doing it because the car was coming at them. Very, very sketchy. So there are a lot of things that are going on here that you don't even want to bring up. Things that very well, that are behind all of that type of stuff. It was also very, very it was very significant that the police didn't release the police report after Michael Brown's death, but they did release the videotape from the mini mart or wherever it was, where they said Michael Brown had committed the strong arm robbery. At the same time, the police officer, the police chief, said that they weren't even related. He said that that the police officer who shot Michael Brown didn't even know that there had been a robbery there. Then he went back on that, and he went back on it again. So there's been a lot of conflicting evidence. And it is also very, very clear, not from your reporting, Billy, at all, none from your reporting, is that the police are going to try and take care of themselves. They're pretty savvy at this. They know how to use the media pretty well. And they're just dropping all of this stuff about Michael Brown to tarnish him, and to also convict him in the public's eye before it even gets to court. So there are a lot of things that you'd even bring up. You brought up your anger. Yes, I can understand your anger at the demonstrations, at the rioting. All right? But your anger at Al Sharpton, that seems like a personal thing that you're going after right there. He's always, in the last couple of years, he's always preached nonviolence. And it is a testament to what's going on in America. Did you ever bring up what the unemployment rate is for young black men? What their chances are? Did you ever bring up, and have you ever ridiculed the school systems and why the inner city, has terrible school systems? Have you brought in any type of program to try and help the school system so that they can educate these people better, so that they can get better jobs? No, you haven't done any of that. But you're really good on the ranting that he's an agitator. So, and of course, there's so many things that I can't even get into, that are going on. Yes, I do think that the FBI should be involved. Yes, I think that I'm glad that there is 3 autopsies right now. Nothing has been released at all. None of the forensic evidence. There's no indication whether or not they haven't released. You see, now here's an interesting thing. If they had his DNA on the gun, do you think they'd release that? I think they would. Okay, that's not been released. Have his fingerprints on the gun? If they had that, if his fingerprints were on the gun, I think that would happen real quick. Yeah. But we don't know all the instances. We don't know what's going on. We also know that the district attorney has indicated that Michael Wilson can come to the grand jury hearing. Well, why would he want to do that if the intention of the district attorney is to charge him with murder, charge him with aggravated assault, second-degree homicide, manslaughter, whatever you want to call it, violating excessive use of force. Any of those types of things. So, and of course, the whole point of this whole thing is that an unarmed black man was shot dead in the street on a Saturday afternoon. And I know you want to bring up all your statistics to try and show how irrelevant it is. Yes, okay, many people are arrested all the time without incident. Yes, all right, but again. Why were they being arrested? Were they pulled over? Why did that, this particular one got out of hand? We don't know the circumstances specifically, but we do know that Michael Brown was unarmed. We know that he was shot dead. We know that he was shot 6 times. We know that he was shot from the front. So we know these things. And then to try and indict Al Sharpton and that lovely lady, who know what it's like being black, who know what it's like for their sisters and brothers to be pulled over for no reason, who know that there's a long history. Ferguson and St. Louis County have a long history of racial animus. This has been going on for a long time. And it isn't because of agitators like Al Sharpton. It's because of the way police treat people. And the way people know that they have to act in front of police, or they're going to get the shit kicked out of them for no reason at all, and they have no recourse to go back on it. There is a terrible history of race. And I know you want to feel that, it's all in the past, it's all gone. School systems are terrible, your educational opportunities are terrible. There's still plenty of problems with race here in the country. I think I mentioned that a couple of days ago. There was I mentioned, I was having lunch with a couple guys. No, not that particular one. Let's just say, I've talked to plenty of white people, and when they feel comfortable around somebody and they're a racist, they let it all drop. Yeah. Very careful about what they say in front of a lot of people. And they feel comfortable. Yeah. I look like a Republican. I look like, someone who'd be racist. To them, I'm one of them. See, once they know that I'm one of them or think that I'm one of them, then people just tell me everything. Or often do. And, it's just unbelievable how, after all of this time, people still feel a need to feel that way. Against another one of God's creations who just happens to be a person of color. And that those people of color who are here in the United States, many of them daily feel humiliated by the circumstances that they're in, by the way they're being treated by the police. And then to have someone like you come on and to show your absolute anger, which is what you're great for, I must admit, because you put on a great show. When you show your absolute anger and blame it on Al Sharpton and blame it on that black person, or blame it on that lady who was on MSNBC. Blame it on NBC. Calling them agitators, calling, whatever you want to call them. That's what you do. And then you bring in and I barely touched the surface on all the things that I know about that are inconsistent with what's going on. And you didn't bring up anything like that. The only thing you brought up is if he is convicted, then he should go to jail. Yes, that's the whole point. But the whole point is that everything is against Michael Brown right now. Very seldom do cases come to court where cops are charged with shooting someone like that and then they get convicted. Very seldom does that happen. So that's one of the great things about you, Billy, is you show this anger. You bring up your side, which isn't even remotely close to being the entire truth of what's going on. You really have some type of thing against the Reverend. I can see that just the way you are, and for a white person to get up there and to think that everything else is equal and that everything will be justified and that everything will happen the right way and that all the things that are going on right now, are being done by people because they're agitators and they're criminals and they're thugs, as your friend Laura Ingram would say, is really reprehensible. You have no idea what it's like to be a black person in the United States. You have no idea to understand the type of humiliation that many of them have to go through almost on a daily basis. And your ununderstanding of that and your anger towards those who you have something against, in this whole thing is exceptionally, exceptionally disturbing.